I just wanted to let you know of some of the activities we do these days. On Sundays we have a Vedanta children class for small children, and they are taught meditation and chanting and formal worship and also stories from our scriptures. We also at the same time hold a program called Vedantic Big Questions and Vedantic Answers for the parents and others who accompany the children. So these are the issues about us who want to be pious and spiritual, how to lead life in the light of Vedanta in US. On Saturdays we have classes and Tuesdays we have classes. I just wanted to let you know that we also are trying to renovate we are trying to make a kitchen in that garage. We are trying to renovate the basement of the other house. So this is not the commercial for donation, but in case you feel like you can also donate. But that's on the side. We just wanted to say that please help us in doing different things besides the service activities we do all over the Pittsburgh area with the old people, the homeless, and everywhere else. Anyway, without further ado, Maharaj, I understand now Sri Ramakrishna will finally enter in the discussion.
Before we enter into that second part of Sri Ramakrishna, so let us discuss about that the question. And we have a wonderful sloka that we will chant, and then we will start the second this one. So that is from the Atharva Veda. Ya etam devam ekavritam veda sa sarvasmai vipashyati yaccha pranani yacchana tamidam nigadam saha sa isha eka brid eka eva sarve asmin deva eka brito bhavanti Ya etam devam ekavritam veda. Ya means him, to him, who knows this God simply as one. Ya etam devam ekavritam veda. This is the Sanskrit of the Atharva Veda. Very old the Veda, so Sanskrit is like that. Sa sarvasmai vipashyati, neither second nor third or nor fourth. Again, see how it goes. The who knows this God as one, neither second nor third nor fourth. Why they are unnecessarily mentioned like this? That was the system to make an impression, strong impression, it is one. He oversees all what breathes and what breathes not. Yaccha pranani, yacchana. Prana means having the life. So that which is having the life and those which are not having the life, sentient, insentient, both are same. Then it goes, Tamidam nigatam saha. To him goes the supreme power. Sa esha eka, eka breed, eka eva. He is the one alone. Sarve asmin deva ekabrito bhavanti. To him all deities become one alone. Now the deities, they are the demigods and other goddesses are there. So all become one. This is the Atharva Veda. At the first sloka, that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am the only Jnana Sarupa. And what is that Jnana? Knowledge of the one. And to express that, he said, everything that you see, including sentient, insentient, living and non-living, all are the same. One who can understand that, to him goes all power. So this is the Vedanta we are discussing. Now, we have to understand this, where from so many came. From one. How from one so many came? The one. If it comes like that, is it that the main thing from which everything is coming out, that gets exhausted?
No, because it's been finite.
Yes. So all the other things then, how it come? Yeah.
So is it possible that when we say that, is it possible that when we say that there are many things which come from one, it is like the elephant story that some of us might have heard, that when bunch of blind people were asked to describe an elephant, someone described it as a wall, someone described it as a snake, so on and so forth, someone as a pillar by touching the elephant's legs. So it the composition of all of us, inanimate objects, is what makes a Brahman. When we try to distinguish things by saying, oh, this is just me, or that person a human, or a cat, a dog, a tree, we're just seeing one particular aspect of Brahman, not the whole of it. Seeing the whole of it gives us a full picture of Brahman. Is it possible that would be the answer?
I'm sorry, I don't think that is the answer. That actually example that you gave, there is each is true. When we are explaining God, someone's telling the God is in a stone, God in the trees, God in the sky, God in the star. Each and every one is telling the truth. That's why Swamiji said we are traveling from lower truth to higher truth. It's not false to truth, wrong to correct, no. Lower truth to higher truth. But that is not the thing. How the manifestation came actually. So that is the question. It says that, and from here, all these philosophers divided. In brief, we can say, when that Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, and others, we say only these three. The Dvaita people said that God created them from His own power, but it is completely different from the God. God, I repeat, created them from His own power, but the creation is completely different from the Creator. Now one argument comes. Two things are necessary to create. One is intellectual cause, another material cause. I need a table, so I need wood and a carpenter. Only wood won't do. Only carpenter won't help. I need two things. So the material and also the intelligent cause who can make the material useful the way I want. Now the God is having that intellect, having the power. He has created, but out of what? What is the material cause? So the Dvaitin, as talking that. They can't say actually. Now that's why the Dvaitin cannot be accepted as the ultimate. I repeat again, God has created out of His own power all this. Correct, okay. Now tell me, for the creation we need two things. The intellect and the material. God is the intellect, no doubt. What is the material? If you say there was already there the material, that means there are two existences. God cannot be eternal. God cannot be the supreme and infinite. He is finite because something else is there, already there. It cannot be accepted. And then comes Vishishta Dvaita. The Vishishta Dvaita said, God has created us. And then, from His own, God has created. The material cause, intellectual cause, both are God. Out of His own He has created. But then we have become separated. How? Like the fire, big fire. From there, sparks are coming out. They are also fire. Same property of fire is there in the sparks. So, when the sparks are coming out, we can say we are separated from God. That way, we are separated. So, who has created God? Out of what? God. So, material cause and the intellectual cause is God Himself. But we are separated. That is called Vishishta Advaita. Advaita means or negative, Dvaita two. There is no two, of course, but the speciality is we are two after the creation. Now Advaita, that Shankaracharya said, Kebala Advaita, that he said, no, we have not been created at all in that way. What we see, that the whole creation is your mental projection and nothing else. How? Through Maya. He is telling, look at the mirages. In the mirage when you see everything. The water, the camels, the camp, the people, the dead trees. In that particular location, what type of things you want to see, you see the whole thing. But when you go over there, nothing is there. So, it is all your mental creation. The whole world that you see, you want it to see. You see in that way. So that is called through Maya. From the prism of the Maya, when you are looking at, so that you see. In reality, nothing is there. So that is why called Advaita. It is two. But he denied the creation. It is there, but the false appearance. But one thing must be there, a basic thing must be there, on which we see the appearances. What is the basic thing? That is the sand in the desert, the sand glittered by and the situation becomes so it creates that. I cannot simply look here and see the mirage. We cannot. Situation is necessary. Sometimes when you are driving, you can see the water on the road itself. And not only that, the ripples of the water also you can see. If you are alert, you can see. And when you see, not in the night, in the daytime. So like that, when you see all those things, then that when it is raining, drizzling, and still the sun ray is there, you see the beautiful rainbow. And so many colors in the rainbow. As if somebody painted. No. It is a sun ray passing through the snow. So I am creating all those. The Shankaracharya says in that, and in the Mandukya Upanishad, very clearly it says, Prapancha Upashamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyate. Yesterday night we were talking about Chaturtha. The fourth one. What is the fourth one? When the creation ceases and in your peaceful mind, when there is no ripple, no thought, inside the mind there is no thought at all, completely thought free, your mind, what happens? It becomes pure, auspicious, Shiva. Shiva means the auspicious. How it becomes pure? Because there is no thought. So obviously it is that primal condition, very pure condition, and feeling of one. And that particular feeling of one is called Chaturtha, the ultimate one. We know that we have already discussed the Jagrat, Sapna, Susupti, and also Turiya. So the Chaturtha is also termed as Turiya. Turiya means the fourth one, beyond all this. This is called Shankaracharya. He is giving this. We see dream. Okay. Otherwise he may forget the question.
No, I will not, but yeah, still. Because you are already on that topic. So I've listened to, as you said, many other sadhus for the last 1 year when I'm here in Vedanta Ashram. And you talk about Shankaracharya when he talks about Maya, right? He says Maya Vidya is the reason what you talk about, and nobody can define Maya. He says Maya is neither reality nor an error, but is something between. That's what I have read in one of the books, but I don't know if there is any other definition to it, because when you say about the intelligent cause and the material cause, right? When we use this word, so you are giving us analogies, we are using these words, but again, Maya is also something, right? In that sense, it's in the material sense. I'm not saying it's a material or something, but it is a word we are using, and you have to describe in some way that because of, so that's like was that Nirguna Brahman, but then with Maya it becomes Sagun Brahman, and that's how you. So, but somewhere it's intellectually you can start to relate to it, but again, what is exactly in that Maya? Why something of that sort will happen?
So that is the main thing that Shankaracharya is telling. That if you say it is the material cause, it must be true, and if it is true, it should exist eternally. It is not existing eternally; it is all changing. So this particular place that we are sitting over here, this was what before coming we came over here, and before the other people they came and stayed over here. So totally different place was there. People are changing, situations are changing, systems are changing, all things are changing, but that should not have been, because if it is the God has created. Look at this. They are telling God has created from His own power, right? And God is eternal. When He is creating, that particular thing should also be eternal. It is not. So that is the strong argument of the Advaitin, Shankara school. They say, you say God has created, no problem. If the God has created out of what, then the Vishishtadvaita said out of God Himself. No problem. But God is eternal. If God is creating something out of His own, it will be eternal. Now,
but isn't Atma is eternal?
Atma is eternal. No, that is our souls. But what about the things that is not having the souls, like the woods, the stones, and all these things? And that consciousness may be there, but in such a way it will take thousands and millions of years to manifest. So that naturally, even then it is changing. It should not have changed. Suppose I make from the wood, suppose wood is the God, this one, and I am taking from the wood something and making another box, wooden box. The whole thing will be just like this wood. So obviously, if God is creating this world, it should be exactly as God is, eternal, pure, and there should not be anything. So that's why the Advaita Vedanta is so strong when they're telling no, there is no creation. You are imagining how again and again. That is really difficult.
Yeah.
But see,
who is imagining? I mean, why something will be imagined?
yes.
Yes.
Who is imagining? That is why, who am I? That's the great question that Vedantin, they always try to give the answer. It is that consciousness which has been manifested within different things. Now in the Upanishads again they will say, Tad srishtva tadeva anupravishad. Tad srishtva, what he say, what he did, he made something as if and entered into it. So this body is completely inert. The body and the wood has no difference. If there is no prana, if there is no life, if I am lying down over there outside, I don't feel cold or warm. If even somebody is walking on me, I don't feel any pain. Like the wood, like the stone. So body is completely inert. That is true. Now inside the body, how the consciousness came? How the consciousness came in that? They say it is reflection. In reality it is not there. It is the consciousness, it is reflected. And that is from that reflection, the closest thing that is to that reflection is our mind. So mind is thinking, cognizing, and as you are asking, who is feeling? That is the mind. Through that reflection. So this is the Vedantic way. Let us stop over here because it takes step by step to analyze again and again. But three different type of answer. First, completely different. God created and we are separate. And all these religions like the Christianity, Islam and Judaism, they accept this Dvaitism. That's why they say God is separate, we are separate. But the problem will be when you ask if the God is permanent, we are not permanent, so how can you expect that God has created us? That's one. Second, if it is God has created, we are out from there, so we are separated. Even then, it cannot give us the answer because there is not permanency is not there, eternity is not there. Third, only the answer that the Vedanta gives, it is to some extent it is true because the creation with the various things that we see is nothing but the manifestation of the same consciousness. Now the fourth question, if we come, why suddenly he created? Then the Hindu said, we do not know. And Sri Ramakrishna and others they reply, it is the will of God. Then in the Upanishad itself, in the Veda itself, it says, Eka aham bahushyamavi, as if the one with the consciousness, he felt, I am only alone. I like to be many. Why he thought? Nobody knows. The moment he thought, everything came in different forms, in whatever way he thought to be. So the moment he thought, I like to be many, it became many. Now he created the eyes. What is the reason to create the eyes? To see. What he will see? If there is nothing around, what I will see? So object was created so the eye can enjoy. He created the ear. And what is the reason for the ear? To listen. So he created the sound. And similarly the taste, the touch, and everything was created only for enjoyment. Now,
But you saying we should not enjoy.
Now that when the enjoyment we are having, that creates the one problem, bondage. When we are having that, again the God comes back in the avatara and says, those are the things you should not take, because then you will suffer. So it is really the way it goes. That's why, yes.
Somewhere, even he himself can't control anything, right? He created something which is out of his control. And now he says, because I have given you discrimination, out of the good and evil, choose the good. But you are not choosing the good and you are doing the evil, which is also my creation. But I don't want you to do that. Somewhere I have created something which has gone beyond even my control. Is that...
Rabindranath, in one of his wonderful poem, he said, Tomari deva prane, you have given the prana, which can feel. Tomari deva dukho, you have given the suffering. And Tomari deva mone, the mind is also yours. Tomari anubhava, who is having that? Anubhava is you also. The one person asked Sri Ramakrishna, said, in the first place, why God has created all this? I can understand that God created, God has become everything and God is suffering. So why all this he did? Then, now, God play, you are telling, Leela is God divine play, and we are suffering. And Sri Ramakrishna said, who are you? Who is really actually suffering? So this is the Vedanta. Friends, we have to remember that we are studying a wonderful philosophy, and he is trying to give the answer to a question which is so difficult, very, very subtle. How from the one which is eternal consciousness came this universe which is temporary, unconscious. So completely reverse thing, how it can be. So that they are telling, no, this is actually you have created. Who are you? The consciousness reflected on the mind. Now the definition, what is God? The consciousness reflected on Maya. And what is Jiva, the individual soul? Consciousness reflected on Ahamkara. All the Jivas are having I sense. I. Even an ant, if you go and try to beat it, immediately it will change the course. I have to save myself. So he is going in this way. The small, tiny, the creature, even the I sense is there. And what is that I? Reflection of the consciousness. Now up to this. Now how to prove it? Madam, you wanted to ask some question? Yeah.
One, I had once heard that this whole Maya concept is nothing but like how we project into our dreams different scenes and people and places. It is the projection of God's dream. God is in his nidra and this whole world is the dream. So when he awakens, will come the pralaya and everything is withdrawn. Just like when we wake up, the dream is gone. Is there anything in your thoughts, what do you think about that theory?
Some people, they say in that way, particularly in the Puranas, they try to explain in this way, that God, in his dream, he is seeing like this. Why? As they say, everything is dream. So who is actually seeing the God? So when he will arise, he will get up, as we break our dream when we rise up. So similarly, it will be the pralaya. This is one way of explaining the thing, but the thing is, you have to prove it. The God is sleeping and seeing the dream, and how can you prove it? Here, the proof goes in this way. In Vedanta, they say the proof is 4 different types. One is pratyaksha, direct experience. That is the proof. Now, I have come over here, I am sitting before you, I am talking with you, you the people who are here. So it is a proof that we are here. Right? Second is anumana. Now, after they are recording, then somebody will be listening, and then he will anumana, he will infer, yes, this is the voice of Swami Ishatmananda, that means he came over here, and these are the questions the people are asking, that means they were also there. Then they will have the anumana, inference, it is there. So how to prove? Direct experience. Second, inference. Third, comparison. That Ishatmananda spoke over there in the same, almost in the same terminology he was using, same arguments he was giving. I don't know Ishatmananda, but from the way he is speaking, it may be Ishatmananda. So comparing, yes, this thing also happened, that thing also happened. So comparing that, I come to a conclusion that is also pramana. So one is pratyaksha, second is anumana. Anumana means inference. Third is upaman, comparison. And fourth is shabda. Now, Sushmita told Ishatmananda came. We invited, he came, he gave the talk over here. And we all believe her because she is all the time here. She is who is organizing things. We believe her. So somebody came and told, so who came in the march? Ishatmananda. Oh, okay. So we believe in her word. That's called Shabda. Why we believe? As because she is always here and she is taking care of the things that is happening. So obviously she knows. Now someone who never visits this place, never come, he says, Ishatmananda came. How do you know? I heard from someone. Wherefrom he knew, oh, he heard from someone else. So like that if you go, we don't believe those words. The Shabda, now Pramana, proof is this, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana and Shabda. These are the four. People also add something, but Vedanta, they say only this. Pratyaksha. Now comes Sri Ramakrishna. He said, I really can promise that there is God. Mairi bolchi Sharachan, Sri Ramakrishna is telling in his own word. Mairi means taking the promise of the God, my mother. I won't say anything wrong or false in the name by taking the promise in my mother. Ishwarachan, if God is there, you can talk to God. You can see God. It is true. So existence of God is proved by Shabda Pramana. Why the Shabda Pramana? Because he himself has seen that. That is the reason the Shabda Pramana, we can accept Sri Ramakrishna's words as true. Now afterwards, we go to that particular position and ask, but who is Sri Ramakrishna? Why should we have to accept him? Then they say he is avatar. Avatar means the power of God manifested through human being. How to understand an avatar? Because I am also a human being. I am also doing so many things. Why you should not accept me as an avatar? So problem is this Western world, now they are taking the words from our religion and using it. Suddenly there was a movie Avatar. Why this? So,
Avatar, they got Avatar.
Avatar. And this is very peculiar type of people. But anyway, they took it in that it was just a fun for them. But the avatar, the avataran, in the Bhagavata, it talks about not all are avatar. The moment we use the word avatar, it is avataran. They are coming of their own free will. We take birth because of our karma. We are bound to take birth. But the avatar is not like that. It is like a prisoner going into jail in the prison is bound to go. Because of the bad work that he has done, it has been punished, the police will take him over there, they will throw him inside their jail. And the jailer of that particular jail, he also goes over there. He also spends the whole day there. But you cannot say that jailer is a prisoner. No. Why? Out of his own will he is going. Any time he wishes or she wishes, they can come out. But avatara is just like that. They come out of their own will and they can leave anytime they like. So this is the avatar, the timeless aspiration of the human soul. Aspiration of the human soul, because we always say that let someone come, because we are all suffering. We need a guide. We need someone to redeem all these things, so that birth after birth, through trackless centuries, man has been knowingly, unknowingly adoring the divine in some form or other. It is in response to this timeless aspiration of the human soul that the divine incarnates himself again and again on earth. The God-hungry soul seizes upon the manifestations and tries to derive new meaning and direction regarding its own progress in life. Every word that an incarnation utters becomes a message of light. Every gesture of his a promise of hope. Every action a sacrament, and every place of his visit a center of pilgrimage. So I am reading from the beautiful editorial that was published long back. So this is what the avatar. So in that way, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna came. And when he came, always we see that Sri Ramakrishna is coming for the redemption. Why? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna, he is mentioning, I told the Rama is not telling anything. He came for a different purpose. But the Krishna is giving the idea, why this avatar? Because some people were intellectual enough to understand that. So he says, Krishna said, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat. Whenever the righteousness is covered with the unrighteousness, then I come. Then I help these people to move forward. When Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna advented, the God advented in the form of Sri Ramakrishna, it was 18...
Sometimes you're speaking, but I can wait and ask my question later.
No, it's no problem. You can ask the question.
Swamiji, my question is, if we think that all the things that we see around us are Maya in Kevala Advaita, then how does that shape our view about, one, the existence of avatars? Are they also Maya? And of religious books like Bhagavad Gita and this, is this also part of the same exact Maya? And if that is so, then how do we reconcile our thought process around this? Then what we are thinking and the ones that we are getting inspiration from, the avatars, they are also Maya.
That's true. From the highest point of view, everything is nothing but Maya. Even the manifestation of God that we are thinking, even the books that we are thinking, as long as we are not in that particular situation, we have to accept this. We have to reach over there to know that this actually was not there. So this is the help that we have. Now a child is getting so many different type of things to learn. And all educational kits that they say that they are giving the games and these and that, slowly he is growing. But afterwards, when he reaches to that point when he has learned all those things, he doesn't need all those. So similarly, to understand that these are all Maya, you need to reach over there, and before that, avatara is necessary. So Avataran, he is coming and guiding to those people who are trying to overcome all these things. And this is Sri Ramakrishna. But always they say, when there is the problem of the righteousness, majority of the people, they are becoming not religious, unrighteous, and they are not only that, trying to destroy the righteousness. Then the Avatara comes. Sri Ramakrishna was born 1836. Exactly 1 year before, 1835. Before that, in the 11th century up to the 17th century, the people came from the Middle East and they were not having that way culture or any advanced thing, but they were ruthless fighter and killers. They came, they captured, and they were confused seeing the very high moral values and in India. So we know that. That was a dark period. So obviously, as because we were subjugated, we were under the pressure of some rulers who were not appreciating the knowledge, in that condition came another group. They are more difficult than the previous people. And they came, they realized, they analyzed, researched, and they found the main survival thing that the Indians are having, that is the religion. And that is why 1835 Lord Macaulay, he presented his research paper into the Parliament of Great Britain, London, and there he mentioned, I have travelled the length and breadth of India. I have seen the great people, great culture. He himself is mentioning, I don't think the Britishers will be able to rule India for a long time unless we break their life's support, and that is religion, through education. The previous group who came, they were destroying our shrines and temples. Nothing happens. Majority of the Indian, almost all the Indians are having small shrines in their own houses. So we don't go to the temple only for that. Our main spirituality we practice inside our rooms. We go to the temple for a social purposes. We go and mix and all that. So when they were breaking the temples, nothing affected that way much. But when the Britishers, they planned that they will destroy our education system, Lord Macaulay planning. And he said, we have to put things in such a way, we have to give them education in such a way, so they themselves will start hating their own traditions and religion. And if we follow the method that I am adopting, I can assure there will be no, even a single idolaters, he mentioned. Because we used to worship the idols, so idolaters won't be there. 1835, the planning is going on to destroy our Indian culture. 1836, the God in the form of Sri Ramakrishna was born. Why? Yada yada hi dharmasya glani. So dharma glani, they were trying to put us in such a difficult way, so Sri Ramakrishna came. And what he did, he never took the education from any institution. Why? To prove education is not book learning. Education is realization of the truth. So that is the first thing. Second, he went on practicing the austerity 12 long years on the bank of the Ganga, so near to Calcutta, the then capital of undivided India. He was going on practicing that, and people used to wonder, to realize God you have to do this day and night. When the day is passing, when the night is passing, he never cared for. He was going on crying, meditating, praying, and praying. People saw how one can totally 100% dedicated to that. And he was giving away all the Brahmanatya and all those things, because that is also ego. If you have the ego, then you won't be able to realize God. So he threw away his Yajna Upavita, and then he went and meditated. He cleaned the bathroom of an Pariya, as a low caste person. So there was no differences. Third, he accepted the women as his guru. The first guru that came was a lady, and the goddess Kali was his chosen idol. And the first disciple was Ma Sharadamani Devi. So that way he was changing the norms of the society, and slowly educated people started coming. He used to go to different people, but he chose his disciple from the university students. So they could understand the modern way of this religion. His wonderful arguments was there. The God can be seen right now, this moment, only if you can remove your ego. Master Moshe once asking Sri Ramakrishna, how can I see God? Then Sri Ramakrishna was sitting just face to face. He took a piece of cloth and then hanged it like this. Can you see me now? No, I can't. Then he removed the cloth and said, can you see now? Oh yes, I can. So that is the way. You can see God face to face because He is just close to you. Only thing you have to remove the ego. The moment you remove the ego, you get that God. You realize that God. So wonderful way he was telling. And then he adopted all the paths. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all paths. And not only that, he was having the tremendous argument with so many different people too. And then finally, he was manifesting divine power within himself. As I was telling yesterday, when the man who was supporting him, he was having the doubt. Immediately he saw in the same person of Sri Ramakrishna the Shiva and the Kali. Many of the people saw like that. Sri Ramakrishna is the Kali. And the Kali, the goddess, who were by the Britishers actually, we can say the Christians, they were criticizing ruthlessly. How can you worship goddess Kali? And she is not having the clothings. And she is cutting the heads of others. And this type of lady, cruel lady, you worship as mother. Majority of the Hindus, they started believing, yes, Kali worship is bad, including the family of Rabindranath Tagore. They never accepted Kali. Then much afterwards, when Sister Nivedita came, and Sister Nivedita became close to Rabindranath, and then she told, why don't you become friendly with my guru, Swami Vivekananda? You are from the same locality, you are of almost the same age, and you knew each other. Why not then you become friends? So the movement will become strong. You know the why? They could not. Rabindranath told, in that case, he has to stop worshipping Kali and he have to forget Sri Ramakrishna, because Sri Ramakrishna was Kali worshipper. So that was the wrong conception. And Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Kali because the goddess Kali is the symbol of knowledge. She never killed anyone, is a symbol of knowledge. So this way, slowly, we came to understand what is true religion. And that was the contribution of Sri Ramakrishna. In the Avatara, as we are talking about the Avatara, in the Bhagavad Gita, we find very clearly in the 4th chapter it says, Aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivashvata, Katametad bijaniyam tamadu praktavaniti. Because Krishna was telling Arjuna, all these age-old traditions, the yogas, I told to Vivashvan. And Vivashvan is in a very, very, very old age. So naturally Arjuna doubted, you and me of the same age, O Krishna, how can you teach him? Then when he was asking, Aparam bhavato janma, you were just recently born, comparing with the Vivashvan. How can you teach the Vivashvan? Then Bhagavan is telling, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavo cha Arjuna. This is the 5th verse of the 4th chapter. Very clearly Sri Krishna says, again and again we are born. O Arjuna, you and me, again and again we are taking the birth. I remember each and everything, you don't. That is the difference of avatara and ordinary person. Arjuna is associated with the Sri Krishna. Even then, he could not memorize, he could not realize the past births. But here we find, he says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava cha Arjuna tanyaham veda sarvani. Tani aham veda. Veda means knowledge. No. I know all of those. Not tvam vetta paramtapa. Though paramtapa, you are a hero. Hearing your name even, your enemies are afraid. You are a parantapa. By that way, even then, you cannot remember the past birth, which I do. So, Buddha said, if you want to know the past, look at your present. If you want to know your future, look at your present. That proves the karma phala and avatara. So what you have done in the past life, so you are enjoying or suffering in this life. What you will do in present life, that you will get in your next birth. So that way, as Swami Vivekananda, we are the maker of our own destiny, Swamiji said. That means that karma phala. So all that comes proves that there is an avatar. And Swami Vivekananda said, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was God incarnate. Why I am quoting Swami Vivekananda? He was the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. He is supposed to tell about Sri Ramakrishna is that way. No. He was a true researcher. Every step he went and he researched on Sri Ramakrishna. He never accepted that just because Sri Ramakrishna said. And that is the reason we can accept his words. When he said, it must be true. No emotion. In every step he was examining Sri Ramakrishna. Yesterday we were telling, and you also know, when Sri Ramakrishna was in the deathbed, even that time, the Narendranath was thinking, if this time, that death is terrible, in that excruciating pain, it is very difficult for a person to deviate. So he was telling, now in this condition, if he can say he is God, I will accept. He was thinking. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna replied from that condition, Oh Naren, still you are doubting? So many times I proved, even now also you are doubting. He who was Krishna, he who was Rama, now in this body. But again, in the second last line he said, not from your Advaitic view. As you are asking, the Sri Ramakrishna said, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna, in this body to now as a Ramakrishna. But again, immediately he added, not from your Advaitic point of view. Advaitic means the Kevala Advaita. As we are discussing, you were asking this question, how it is possible from the point of view of Kevala Advaita, when there is nothing only the reflection. From that point of view, Avatara is also not there. No creation, etc. But anyway, Swamiji say, he is the concentrated embodiment of knowledge. Sri Krishna, Ramakrishna. Knowledge, love, renunciation, Catholicity, and the desire to serve mankind, that was Sri Ramakrishna. Without studying Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa fast, one can never understand the real import of the Vedas, the Vedanta, the Bhagavata, and the Puranas. That's why I was telling, unless you study the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and you study the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, you'll never understand the religion in that clarity. Sri Ramakrishna is living religion, and he is giving a wonderful, simple way, the clarity. Anywhere you go, they have presented the religion in such a complicated way, it's very difficult to understand. One person came and told, you are asking to pray to God, but I don't believe in God. What will happen to me? I don't believe in God. And you are telling, if you pray to God, you will get the answer. But I don't believe God, how can I pray? What will happen to me? Sri Ramakrishna immediately said, you go and pray. Oh God, if you are really existing, then listen to my prayer. That will also do. He never said then, go to hell, I can't help you. No. Another person came and told, you are asking to meditate on Krishna, but I can't meditate on Krishna. Why? Because I love my nephew so much, the moment I close my eyes, I see the face of the nephew. Sri Ramakrishna told, that's good. Concentrate on your nephew as Krishna. People are coming and telling, we don't have time to do the puja or go to temple or study the scripture. What we will do? Sri Ramakrishna is telling, when you are cooking for your own family, think that you are cooking for God. Think only. You are cooking for God. When you are serving your own people, think that you are serving God and goddesses. When you are cleaning your rooms and household, think that you are cleaning the temple. Anytime God may come. Just think. The transformation will come from that everyday work that you are doing from there. And that is Sri Ramakrishna. He is the embodiment of knowledge, embodiment of love. I was telling the story of how he was teaching his disciple Latu Maharaj to go and beg pardon from a person who was not only that, he, renunciation and others. Another thing happened, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna was not in his body, physical body, he passed away. One of his disciples, he was there in our, what's called that, Odisha, that the temple, that Jagannath temple, and Puri Jagannath temple. The one Christian father, he came and standing on that gate of the Jagannath Mahaprabhu, he was criticizing Hinduism, Jagannath. It was too much for Premanandaji. After worshipping, he was coming out and he heard this man is criticizing, and some people are listening to that. It was too much for him. So how to stop him? So he didn't go and fight with him. He started only the Krishna Nam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And when he started, Sri Ramakrishna told he is so pure. Even his every bone is pure. And he is the amsha of Radha. He is the part of Radha. Radha is the purity herself. And he started singing as the Krishna Nam. It was so wonderful. All people got attracted. They all left that father and came to him. They also started singing and dancing. That fellow, the preacher, he was afraid. He left that place. And thinking that we could drive him out, and very proud, the Maharaj was satisfied that I could drive him out, and he came to his room, and in the night in his dreams Sri Ramakrishna came and told, why you insulted him in that way? Can you imagine? This is Sri Ramakrishna. He told, what is there? He is talking about the God and criticizing God. People will listen. They let it go. Why you have to insult that man? Every moment he is thinking, oh, I have been insulted. That will be harmful to you. So look at it. The spirituality when reaches over there is love. Love for each and everyone. A man came, he was abusing Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna's disciple fought Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna was angry with him. Why you fought like that? Go and beg pardon. This is the love without any bound. There is a little boy coming and accusing or misbehaving. Do we really become angry? No, not like that. The similar, the love. Renunciation. Sometimes some people say, what Sri Ramakrishna will renounce? Because he was a poor man, he was nothing to renounce. And what is the real renunciation? Renunciation of ego. Is not the property, is not the wealth. The main renunciation is the renunciation of ego. I. That ego was not an iota of ego was present in Sri Ramakrishna. That's why he is the great renouncer. He is the Tyagishwara. The Tyagi Ishwara. He is the Lord of the renouncers. Because he was not having any I. He never could say, I have done this. He used to say, this I have done. This is telling you should do this. So he used to point out to himself and say, he could never say I. So this is the renouncer. Catholicity, the example that I gave. What Catholicity more than that it can be? When the Christian father, for them also he is feeling, why should you do like that? So this is the Catholicity, so broad, and the desire to serve the mankind. He was so eager to help the people. He used to go everywhere. In those days, it was a taboo for the cultured people and of course the religious people to go to see the drama in the, because all the ladies that they used to enact over there, they were not good. That's why the people never used to go. The good people, all others they used to go. Sri Ramakrishna used to go over there, not only alone. He will take all his devotees. Let us go and watch that. He used to go. Not secretly, with all. And not only that, after that he used to go to that dressing room and he used to bless those girls, those ladies, touching their head. So serving the people. He used to take all their sins himself and giving them love and joy. One lady was there, very famous, Vinodini, actress, Noti means actress. Actress Noti Vinodini, her name was. She used to cry all the time that I am here, I am serving the people like this, and I am surely going to go to hell. What will happen to me? When she saw Sri Ramakrishna, he went and said, Baba, Father, what will happen to me? Sri Ramakrishna told, you have already reached. Why you cry? As because all the time you are crying for God, your mind has been purified. You have already reached to that high, the position where the monks are trying to reach. Vinodini, he said. Then he said, God sees the mind, not the body where it is. Look at this. This is Sri Ramakrishna. So the Vedanta in practice, what Vedanta teaches? Love. Love without any discrimination, right? We were discussing. Now Sri Ramakrishna is practicing that pure love without discrimination. He is going and visiting those places where other people used to shun. And he used to go and touch those ladies where the people used to tell wrong, bad things about them. And he used to call them as mother. The mother, you have done a great thing. You'll be all right. And then he said, look at the love and the respect and the inspiration. Remember, God only sees the mind, not where you are, what food you are taking, what clothing you are wearing, where your body is. Only your thought, only your mind. Purify your thought. And not if Binodini 24 hours she used to think, what will happen to me? I will go to hell. So she used to cry constantly. By that way her mind became purified. God could understand that. Others not. So this is the Sri Ramakrishna. And we find in the Sri Ramakrishna, without studying Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, you cannot understand the Vedanta. That's why I took up this topic, Vedanta and Ramakrishna. And we try to understand what is Vedanta. And look at this. This is Sri Ramakrishna. Practical example of the Vedanta. If we don't see the principles practiced by someone and proved by, what is the use of that? We are going on studying something and there is no one before us as an example that this can be like this. Nothing has happened. So this is Sri Ramakrishna. Everywhere we need an example. When you go to see a doctor, before that we see the rating. What he has done, how many. So one person, he was crying. The doctor told, why you are crying? No, doctor, this is the first time in my life I will have the operation. So I am so much afraid I am crying. The doctor told, oh, you are crying for the first time? I am also first time going to operate.
I'm doing it for the first time.
So the first time I am going to operate and I am trying to. And then I added, the man jumped away and ran. Let the pain be there, but I am not going to get. So that is the way that we always think. So the example should be there. Otherwise, people won't believe. Is it possible to love without any boundary? Sri Ramakrishna is there. Catholicity, the broadness, how much it can be. Sri Ramakrishna is the example. Love for God, Sri Ramakrishna example. The faith in God, Sri Ramakrishna example. Renunciation, Sri Ramakrishna example. So Vedanta, whatever it says, everything we see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. And one of our monastic, and the brother, he was telling, Ishatmananda is praising Sri Ramakrishna only, that here it is Vedanta, always. Without Sri Ramakrishna Vedanta, what is that? If you are not having the example, what is the Vedanta then? Vedanta means you simply go on discriminating these and that. Afterwards, go back to the square one. If you don't have the example before us, how can you proceed? That's why, long back, the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, like Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Shivananda, he said, when you speak to other people, he used to say, when you go to the society and speak, only say about Sri Ramakrishna, don't tell about your own thing. Whatever Sri Ramakrishna said, just quote. That will be very, very beneficial for the people. And this time Sri Ramakrishna is the living God. Whoever will think about him will get the mukti, he said. And then not only that, he said, go and tell people that one of his direct disciples has taught me in this way. Tell that. So we do not understand the implication of that. Sri Ramakrishna name, if you utter, the purity will come, he said. Mother said, if you look at the picture of Sri Ramakrishna, you see the God himself. So this is the way we always think. And here it says, Swami said again, when the degraded Aryans had almost turned India, the land of religion, into a hell, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna incarnated. So I was just, as I was telling, how they made the whole thing. You know that Britishers, they divided the Indian society. The Britishers divided the Indian society. We always talk about divide and rule. And how they divided, you know? They divided, first is a religion, Hindus and Muslims. If you do the Google search and try to find out, before the Britishers came and established their the rule over there in India, whether there was a single conflict between two religions, we call riot. The only cause is religion and two different groups of people killing each other. Not a single incident. The Muslims and the Hindus, they used to fight, that the kings used to fight. Hindu king, Muslim king, they are fighting. And that too, in the Hindu king's army, Muslims were there. And Muslim king's army, Hindus were there. The example is, when the Akbar Badshah was capturing the whole India, the whole eastern region, right from Delhi, then UP, then the Madhya Pradesh, the Bihar, then Bengal, then Assam, a whole area was captured by, on his behalf, on Akbar's behalf, Man Singh. Raja Man Singh was a great Hindu. And all the time he used to hang at the Shiva Linga. And every time, 4 times he was supposed to worship the Shiva. Even in the warfield he used to worship the Shiva. That was so devout Hindu. He was fighting for the Muslim king. If you asked him, he would have answered, I am a warrior. And he has hired me, paying me very good, so I am fighting. Hindu fighting against the Hindu to establish the Muslim kingdom. And the example that the one Muslim king, he was trying to keep his fort, that is in the Bengal, that is Siraj-ud-Dawla. Siraj-ud-Dawla was having the 3 officers. One, his very close relative, Mirzafar, 50,000 soldiers strong, they were under him. And only 15,000, 30,000 was under other two officers, Mir Madan and Mohan Lal. They were Hindus. They fought with their 15,000 against the Britishers. And they died for that cause, though they were Hindus. And he betrayed the Muslim, he betrayed a Muslim king. Nothing with the religion, it was just an administration and politics. Britishers came, first they told, you are Muslim, you are Hindu, divide. We are fighting for that. The Britishers that way so successful. Then language. You are Bengali, you are Marathi, you are Gujarati, you are this, you are that, divided. Third, from the society, they chose the rich people and made them jamindars and landlords, and they used to call them rajas, the kings. More than 600 kings were there, kingdoms were there before our independence. More than 600. The Britishers told, you are the king of this plot of land. You have to give me this much tax. I don't know how you will collect. It is up to you. So these people used to go and they used to snatch money from the mouth of the hungry people, and they used to pay to the Britishers. In exchange, Britishers will go on giving them some that upadhis, Rai Bahadur, Raja Bahadur, these and that, and they were so happy. They divided. Then from those families, they used to take the young boys and to train them ICS. They used to send them to London and they used to become the ICS. And these ICS, they used to rule mainly the society. See the divisions. These ICS were trained to think. You are completely different from the society. And some people were there, the religious people, and they used to have in the name of religion, burning the widow and killing this, doing that, all nonsense things in the name of religion. They were doing, Britishers told, oh no, that is religion, we cannot do anything. And finally, en masse, the poor people, they were tortured by the Indians, tortured by the Britishers, tortured by everyone. That's why Swami Vivekananda, when he traveled the length and breadth of India, he shouted, he cried, lo, the descendants of the rishis have become next door neighbor to brutes. We are the descendants of the rishis. And we really became like that. This is the Britishers. What the Muslim did? Nothing. They captured the land and they took the money and they broke some of the temples. That's all. But the Britishers, they entered in such a way, the devastating damage and long-standing, even today we are fighting in the name of language, in the name of religion. Yes, sir.
So, Swamiji, who?
No, but that's not the point. The point is going all over the world. Yeah.
So, Swamiji, who is to blame here? Are we going to point fingers just like we do that Britishers has done it, or we had a culture of or civilization of more than 3,000 years before these simple guys, white people who came to our country and tried to divide that. We had the Krishnas, the Ramas, and all extraordinary people have come and gone through that particular region. We had the power, or so many rishis whose power of the soul, whose power of the meditation was part of that region. Outside of it, very few in number, those kind of Britishers, they came from outside and they made sure that they can divide such a rich country with such a rich culture. So, and I was reading Bhagat Singh from his perspective, and he was a young guy, he died very young, and he has said something that it's not your God, it's not your Britishers, it's up to you. You were allowing them to control yourself, your thoughts, and you were allowing them to divide and rule us. People like me, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, we are fighting for the truth, fighting for the freedom. We understand the real truth. You don't understand that. You think you understand that I love God, I love Rama, I love Krishna, I'm a bhakta of this, I'm a bhakta of that, but in the back I do all kind of nonsense with these brutes, which weakens my country. So who is to blame here? That means we don't understand our religion. We never did. We thought we did.
Now, at this moment, we should not deviate from our point.
That's right.
Our question is, now if we go on discussing that is a completely different picture. Our point is, why God comes in the reincarnate, why God takes the human form. And the point is, 3,000 years before, in the Gita, Sri Krishna promised, whenever there will be the decline of the righteousness, I will come. To prove that Sri Ramakrishna, the avatar, he came at what time? So that was the society. So that is the picture that I am giving you. And then the Sri Ramakrishna came, and what is this Sri Ramakrishna? Swami Vivekananda I am quoting. Why again quoting? Because Vivekananda is the best person who judged and analyzed Sri Ramakrishna more than any. So he is telling An avatar is a thoroughly original person. They look at the way they say, thoroughly original person. When we are here, the Swamis are coming, we are giving the spiritual retreats. We are not original. We are quoting from this place and from that place, whatever books that we have read, and whatever a little bit of my analysis, I am just explaining. The original thought, that means what? Not that the Veda said, I have realized that, so I incorporate and I tally the Veda. Yes, it is true. That is called original thing. Veda said that God is one. And I am saying God is one, God is one. It is not like that. I realize that original. Then I say, Swami Vivekananda himself, when he was touched by Sri Ramakrishna and he realized that oneness, when he was very young, 17, 18 years old, 3 days and 3 nights he saw that oneness. He could not eat, he could not sleep. Even when the cars were coming, he was standing, thinking the car and me, there is no difference, like that. When that was going on, even then he was not satisfied. After 3 days, when Sri Ramakrishna withdrew that power, he was not satisfied. He was going on meditating, pondering, concentrating, and one day, as I told you, sitting under the peepal tree, he realized that and he shouted, "Oh Ganges, today I have solved the life's problem." That is called original thing. So Sri Ramakrishna, not only Sri Ramakrishna, any avatar is a thoroughly original person. Sri Ramakrishna had almost no formal education, yet he was so much the more natural. The purer his thoughts, undiluted by drinking in the thoughts of others. He never, we read something and then we vomit. Oh, the Plato said that, and then the Socrates said that, and this man and that man, we just memorize and then we vomit. That is not the original thing. If a man throws aside the vanities of the world, we hear him called mad. But such men are the salt of the earth. Out of such madness have come the powers that have moved the whole world of ours. That is what Sri Ramakrishna. Now, I think it is time again, the 1:31, then we have to go for the lunch. And finally, from 3:30, the retreat session, what I think, as because the small group, immediately after the lunch, if we sit, and I was thinking that we will chant from Brahma Rupa Adi Madhya. So that explains the Sri Ramakrishna, at the same time the Vedanta. And then if you permit me, I can start little early, maybe at 3 o'clock, so that I can reach safely. The night it is sometimes, last time when I was going from somewhere, that the flat tire and there's a lot of difficulties were there. So I was thinking that way. So, okay then. So this is now we will go for the lunch. It is the time for lunch. Then afterwards, then I will talk to Susmita also. Then immediately after the lunch, if you can please come together, we will have that song together and then we will close. What about that? We'll talk to Susmita.
Maharaj, you are talking to somebody who knows nothing. So, yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, for this beautiful session. And I know you made it in a different way. You allowed questions in between. And so, of course, I have questions I will ask later on. Others also. You can ask. Maharaj, don't let him eat quietly.